Knucklehead Weatherman. Hope you guys are having a good day and a good evening. Just dropping this quick update video in regards to the severe weather threat for tonight and giving a little bit of an update to the risk for tomorrow as well as Wednesday too. If you guys have been liking what you've seen on this channel, I hope you guys I would appreciate if you guys drop a like, subscribe, comment, and share the video, share the channel. But without further ado, we're going to get into it here. So, as I mentioned yesterday, the threat for the severe weather tonight is going to be about late night, midnight, nocturnal. It's going to be a nocturnal type event. Don't really have my words under me right now. But as you can see here, this little purple box here is actually a severe thunderstorm watch, so it seems like they're expecting storms to be popping up very soon if they aren't already. In fact, I think I even see what looks to be a severe thunderstorm warning right there. Yeah, that is indeed a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're gonna go and take a look at the severe weather outlook real quick, and then we're gonna start taking a look at the radar as well. And you can actually see that a line of storms has already begun to emerge, and maybe just to the south there might be some isolated supercells. I may just pull up my radar real quick to get a better look at these, but as you can see, the slight risk has not moved. It hasn't gotten any bigger or smaller, so this is what we will have for tonight. For those of you that are in Dallas and areas to the east particularly. But then I also want you to pay attention to the marginal risk on Tuesday and now Wednesday as well. If you look at the video yesterday, on Tuesday we had a slight risk, and that has now downtrended to a marginal risk. I spoke about how the Cape, which is our thunderstorm fuel, they weren't very sold on the National Weather Service wasn't very confident as to how much Cape would be available. Well, it seems like they're starting to lose even more confidence in it, so that's why they're downtrending. Marginal risk area looks like it's a little bit further to the west as well, like it's including areas like New Orleans now as well. But like I said, it's a marginal risk, still something that you need to pay attention to, but it's definitely better than having a slight risk, which is a level 2 out of 5. So the main threat with this one is going to be damaging winds for sure. There's a slim chance of a tornado, but I'm not sold on that. I think the best chance for a tornado is anyone that's on the West Florida coast. I think that we could get some water spouts over the Gulf, and then they might impact land. At that point, those are called tornadoes as well. Just a little FYI. But we'll take a look at this categorical outlook. See, 2% chance, not very impressive. Wind threat's only 5%. Hail's probably, wow, it's even less than 5% in all areas. I mean, we did mention that as well yesterday. The lapse rate was not, it just wasn't there, to be honest. So it really doesn't surprise me. But I want to take a look at day 3 actually, because before we had this on day 4, and I'm going to show what day 4 to 8 looks like in a second, just to kind of give you an idea of what I saw yesterday. So it said the predictability was too low, so they won't issue in a particular area for severe weather unless it's about 15% or higher on days 4 through 8. But it seems that they've picked out South Florida as the area of interest. Places like Miami, Tampa, St. Petersburg, again, and Orlando seem to be the areas of interest. I'm still thinking it's a damaging wind threat, maybe a slightly higher tornado threat, but not very much. Cape might be high enough to, yeah, I don't know. I'm still not very sold on this myself, to be honest. We're going to take a look at the Cape on that in a moment, but from what I saw earlier, I'm not too sure about it. But these guys are professionals, so I'm going to take their word for face value and just kind of go from there. Well, But first things first, though, we're going to take a look at tonight's severe weather risk. So, as we can see here, we're looking at the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh. That's quite a tongue twister. But as you can see here, there's already a line of storms here, even though this is at the midnight hour. HRRR has already picked up on this. I anticipate that this line will continue onward. So as we go forward, this thing will go forward. Thing's acting up. I gotta get into the forecast loop. I don't know how it ended up back on the single image, but it's all right. So the reason why I don't show the HRRR as much is because it has a really short range. You can only get up to about 18 hours, and this hasn't even fully loaded yet, so we can only see about 16. But 16 is enough in this situation. The worst of the threat is going to be within the next 8 hours, I would say. So for any of you guys in Dallas and points east of there, just maybe towards like the Western Ozarks as well, just kind of keep a close eye up. It just updated to 17. We're going to move forward here, and you can clearly see that this line continues to develop further and further off to the east. I'm not really seeing too many isolated supercells out in front of it, which is where most of our concern for tornadoes was going to be. So I anticipate this mostly being a damaging wind threat. And of course, as expected, this low continues to develop. It develops a little later than what we saw yesterday on the model trends. So move on Tuesday. It's kind of hanging further back to the east as well. And it comes in late over the Gulf, and then that's the end of our model run here. We'll go to the NAM 3 kilometer to get a look further out into Tuesday and even Wednesday. And then we'll look at the severe weather parameters here. So I'm gonna get the NAM over to the reflectivity mode. Okay. Now we gotta wait for it to load again. Okay, here we go. So we're getting, well, this hasn't actually picked up as much on the line of storms yet that are already forming. So, and then here we go. NAM really starts to beef things up right around Dallas, just a little bit to the east of there, around 11 or 10 o'clock central. It's a line of storms, and then I do see a small area where supercells may develop. I do see a small boundary, but it's going to be hard to say. Temperatures over there are going to make a huge difference around this time, about this time, as well as the dew points. We're going to take a look at those real quick. We're in the 60s, so we're in the 60s and at some points the 70s, so severe weather is definitely still possible around that time. Actually, the temperature starts to really decrease, so I'm not too sure. I think this is going to be mostly a damaging wind threat. I think the tornado threat's starting to really drop off here. I mean, I could be wrong. There's still a chance for a few naders in the dark to any of you that know who Ryan Hall is. But for the most part, the tornado threat, which was already small scale as it was, only seems to be dropping. We do need to take a look at the Cape, of course. I'm going a little too far on this. So I'm going to go back to reflectivity real quick, and then wait for that to load again. Fun. There we go. That was a lot faster this time, at least. So as we move a little bit further forward into Tuesday, we see the rain shield kind of late into Tuesday, maybe early Wednesday. That's where I'm starting to see these little clusters of storms, maybe even some embedded supercells. We're going to have to see if that trend holds. And into Wednesday, I'm not too sure still, but I think a few early morning storms will be possible on Wednesday. Then everything's going to move out pretty quick after that. Things are going to really start to die down. And before we know it, Thursday, pretty much out of it. But also, I forgot to show you what I was seeing yesterday about Wednesday, which is why things are a little bit harder to predict in the long range. See this right here? Predictability too low. This usually means that they're thinking that there could be an area of severe weather, but they aren't very sure of where, and they aren't very confident in the severe weather parameters. So that's what I was seeing yesterday in regards to Wednesday. And actually, if we look through days 4 through 8, watch this. Day 4. Day 4. Hang on a minute. This thing isn't working right now. Ah, jeez. 5, 6, 7, 8. 4. Day 5, 6, 7, 8. So it seems like we're still going to be in a very active pattern here, because you can see here as this thing's still going, it doesn't change from potential too low, it's just predictability too low. So it seems like we're in a very active pattern, which I had already mentioned yesterday, but this just further confirms it. So that being said, let's get back to the NAM. Sorry I'm all over the place, you guys. So before we go on, we're going to look at the dew points real quick. So the dew points right now are currently in the 50s over Dallas and just to the east. We do see an uptick in the dew points, getting into the 60s at some spots. So I mean, there definitely is enough moisture in the air to get some stronger storms. Real question is, what's the Cape look like? We saw the low level jet yesterday, so I'm still convinced that tornadoes are possible, but like I said, the threat level just isn't that high, and it's not very widespread. We can already tell right here that there is some Cape available. We're sitting right around 500 to 750 capes per, about 500 to 700 joules per kilogram. Yeah, I'm just fumbling my words today, aren't I? Ooh, and then right around 8 Central, 9 o'clock Central, things really start to kick up. We're starting to get into the thousands, maybe even the 1500s in some spots. And then by this time, by about 1, 2 o'clock, things start to die down with the Cape, and so does our severe threat. This is very quick hitting, but potentially hard hitting as well, severe threat. Definitely something to keep track of tonight if you're east of Dallas. So if we look at the low level jet, we do look like we could be in line for a little surge, because I'm looking at this right here. I don't think I remember seeing this here yesterday around this time. Keep in mind though, this is about around the 7 o'clock hour, but which is actually right now, to be honest with you. So let's go forward and see what this does here. And right about midnight, 1 o'clock, it seems like it's trying to surge. I don't think it quite gets there. It stays just a little bit too far to the south, the strongest part of that low level jet. But this is still sufficient enough to provide some tornado genesis, but we'll just have to keep watching as the night goes on. So then we're going to take a look at Tuesday real quick. If there's going to be a tornado threat, I'm going to say probably more towards Louisiana in the early afternoon hours. You see a little bit of a wind maximum. You see a little bit of a dip here. Seems like there could be some turn of the winds with height. Some good shear. But not very convinced. But look around the Gulf though, just like I was pointing out on the 3 km on the reflectivity for the 3K. You can see a little bit of a wind maximum forming there. So like I said, definitely be on the lookout for some water spouts and maybe some land spouts as well. And then as we move further and further along, we lose that wind shear. I do see something interesting here though around North Carolina. I'm thinking when they move Thursday to day 3, there might be a risk area right here off the North and South Carolina coast. I don't think it's going to be a high risk, but definitely a risk no less. I'm actually going to go back to the Cape real quick. Again, I apologize for going back and forth like I am. This might be a little bit longer of a video than I was expecting to make as well. Part of that due to my computer just running so slow. So, okay, we definitely established with that. Just waiting on my computer to load. I'm gonna close out this HRRR model because we don't really need any more. There we go. That seemed to help us a little bit. So we're gonna move into Wednesday. Not a lot of Cape available on Tuesday. A little bit more on Wednesday. Definitely leads me to think there could be a little bit more of a tornado threat towards central Florida, especially in the early afternoon. And then as we move forward, we kind of look at this Cape. Ooh, wow. If there's any storms that form late Wednesday night, we're talking about some pretty high Cape possibly. Maybe around the maybe a little bit over 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's pretty impressive. And there is a low-level jet in that area, so this could be really interesting right here, what happens on a late Wednesday night around Florida. So as we look further and further ahead, Cape just doesn't really seem to be there all that much for the South Carolina, North Carolina coast, and maybe even as far south as Savannah, maybe even. But I'm not too convinced that there's going to be a high chance of severe weather. They may go marginal, if even that. But I'm just going to have to look into this a little bit more. Just don't really have a lot of information in regards to this. But one last thing I think I'm going to look at here. Where have I looked at everything? Yeah, I think that's honestly all that I have for you guys tonight. There's a lot going on. It's been a crazy day for me as well, so I apologize if I seem like I'm a little off, but this has been Ty, your Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys stay safe. If you're east of Dallas, if you're just east of Dallas towards the Louisiana, Arkansas, or the Arklatex line. And the rest of you guys have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.